Okay, so today I am going to talk about the first of one of my many ideas that are probably really bad ideas, but for some reason I just can't stop thinking about them. I don't have the money to do any of it, so I'm just going to start spreading the ideas all over the place as best as I can. I mean, you never know, one of these ideas might actually be good. The first one is my idea for a radio station. I live in central Alberta, and central Alberta has a fair number of radio stations. When I say central Alberta, I mean Red Deer and Sylvan Lake and the things around there. We don't really get the Edmonton and Calgary stations, aside from Sunny 94. That showed up recently. I guess they improved their range. But we have two rock stations, one dedicated to classic rock, one's more contemporary stuff. We have two country stations, and frankly I can't tell the difference between either of them if there is one. We have two pop stations. One of them plays just whatever happens to be on the charts, and the other one plays whatever you vote for. Which basically means they play the same shit. Although there's some variance. Sometimes you see like some grunge or something pop up in the middle of a bunch of pop. We also, of course, have the CBC radio channel. It's all across Canada, but it tends to focus a lot on oldies and the news. So it's not something that really appeals to someone like me or anyone else in my generation, really. Especially no one else in my generation. At least I like some oldies. Then you have CKUA, which is a lot more eclectic than CBC, but again, they tend to focus a lot more on the oldies, on stuff that older generations would like, and of course, the news. And we have a French language station that no one listens to, because no one in Alberta speaks French. But we have no real alternative music station. All we ever hear are the popular things, whatever happens to be the highest on the charts, whatever happens to be playing in the clubs. And the weird thing is, all of these other genres of music wind up getting pushed to the side, like punk, like grunge, like metal, like anything that's angry, anything that has something to say other than fuck me. Unless they literally mean fuck me. But there's an audience for that here. There's a fairly big audience for that here. I've been to a number of concerts, my friends have dragged me out to them, and there's an audience for it. But there's no station representing that. There's nobody taking advantage of that. And I don't know why. I guess because no one's ever thought to. Everyone's already jumped on the most potentially profitable bandwagons, so no one's attempting to make money off of the smaller things yet. So anyways, my idea is a radio station that is all about alternative music. Not alternative rock, not alternative music. The stuff that no one else is playing. The genres that have a following, but no given following is large enough in central Alberta to warrant an entire station dedicated to just that genre. But you can do a station that focuses on all of them because no one else is touching that. And together, that's a lot of people. And a lot of people who like the really popular stuff also have some other interest in other not quite so popular things. And there's no radio stations that deliver that. So it is, theoretically, in my mind, possible to make a profitable radio station with a dedicated audience based on playing things that aren't necessarily popular by statistics. This is good. I lost my place. This is so delicious. Now, the big thing about it is you need to keep on playing things that other people don't play. So, like, automatically it's going to be in opposition to other radio stations. That's what I am. I don't like the other radio stations. I only listen to them because they're my enemy. And occasionally they play something good. Very rarely. The motto I thought up for it was, if they won't play it, we will. If they don't play it, we do. We are the other choice. We are everyone else. Call sign. That's just what's been floating around inside my head for it. And I think one of the best ways they could do that, if I made a station like that, if I ever found the money to put it together, because that's a big problem, finding the money to buy all the equipment and the land and pay people's wages and stuff in the first place. But if I ever found the opportunity to actually put this motherfucker together, I think the best way to make sure you're playing things that no one has ever heard before is to find people nobody has ever heard before. Look for indie musicians, new musicians, people who, or even people who aren't necessarily doing it professionally, people who are doing it as a hobby. Find street performers, right? Find these kinds of people who just enjoy playing music, or even, of course, indie musicians who are trying to make it big, and you play them. You play them on the radio, and of course you pay them. I mean, royalties, but like. And then, the idea I had was each show is dedicated to a certain genre. So you have a metal show, you have a classic alternative genre that's focused on like punk rock and grunge and things that aren't exactly contemporary musical genres anymore. Things that are kind of no one really pays attention to them anymore. And you'd have a techno show, and you'd have. Right, and you'd have a foreign show that plays world music and stuff. You'd play all these different genres and stuff as shows, and you'd have each of those shows bringing in people that no one's ever heard before. And then on the internet, or through a phone, or through mail, or whatever method they choose, the audience could vote for whoever they want to hear the most, right? And then at the end of the month, you do one big live show where you bring in the person who got the most votes for a live interview and performance on air. And I would really love to hear that, because there aren't any stations here that do that. There's internet radio stations that do that. It's really nice to see that, to hear that, and I'd love to see that kind of thing going on around here. There's something a lot more enlightened, something a lot more entertaining, something more interesting, something different than the fucking charts. And that's one of the ideas I had, just focus in on people no one's ever heard before and give them an opportunity to be heard. Because most of them are different, very different, and very interesting, and a lot of them are quite entertaining. Some of them aren't, but that's personal taste. I'm not much into the metal scene. I've been to metal concerts. I don't get it. But I support them, because there's a lot of people in that group, and it's obvious there must be something good about it. I mean, there wouldn't be that many people focused on it if there wasn't. But, and there's nothing really representing them. And when I say the metal scene, I don't mean like power metal, and I don't mean like heavy metal, the shit you hear on the radio. I mean the stuff where you turn it on and you're not sure whether you're listening to music or a broken speaker. It's just, to me, it sounds like static. It's just so much shit going on at the same time that there's no way I can even keep up with it. It's just too fast. It's too convoluted. There's too much stuff in it. So I can't understand it. But apparently they can. And there needs to be someone to cater to that audience. And then, of course, financing. How the hell do you make money off of this, playing music that's not the most popular shit that everyone listens to all the time? How do you play this? How do you make money playing the stuff that only some people listen to some of the time elsewhere? If you're playing people that no one else plays, quite frequently there's a reason no one plays them, aside from them just being an unknown, but quite frequently it's because they say things that not everyone wants to hear. Not just because of the way they say it, but because of what they're saying. Which means that, quite frequently, I think, you would be able to find people with controversial music, with controversial messages, consistently. Which means that a great deal of your programming would be controversial in nature. And as we all know, controversial shit gets you an audience. And when you have an audience, you can advertise. So long as someone's watching, so long as someone's listening, you can make money off of them just because they're there. And that's what radio is all about. The music is the lure. The commercials are what it's really all about, monetarily speaking. It's a business, right? That's what the business is about. It's about the commercials. Yeah, that's my idea for the radio station. It's probably, compared to a lot of my other ideas, it's probably actually the most plausible of them all. It's still going to be stupid expensive for me to put it together, but I would love to actually make that into a reality. If you're watching this and you have an opinion or any suggestions on how to make my idea more plausible, shoot, if you're in the business, tell me things, anything really, unless it's just mindless, pointless criticism. Give me ideas on how to make this work if you have any. Thanks for your time.